Well, hey everybody, John Ritlin here, and this is every WWE champion ranked from worst to best part 2, Electric Boogaloo. The first part I did, wrestlers 51 through 21, and figured I'd leave it off there because I wanted to talk, more positively about the ones that I feel are some of the best WWE champions, including some of the ones that really are the best, in my personal opinion, based on facts, figures, and stuff like that, and also just overall title reign. And personal bias. Look, everybody has personal bias. But you will be seeing some more ranking videos throughout the summer. WCW ones, European Championship, and a few others. U.S. title, Cruiserweight title, including from WCW, WWE. But let's just jump right on into it. By the way, the link for the first part is up here. You can feel free to check that out if you haven't already. But if you haven't, then well, you're about to see this second part, and you can see the best, and then you can see what I thought was the worst by clicking that link I just showed you. So, number 20, Seth Rollins, 220 days, 2 reigns. His first reign, even though WWE creative made him into a sniveling heel and some of his feuds weren't the best, the matches were pretty goddamn good. That feud with Ambrose was pretty good. He worked really goddamn hard. It's unfortunate that knee injury took the title away from him. I think he would have held it till Mania 32, or maybe he would have dropped it to Roman in the Survivor Series. Who the fuck knows? But it's unfortunate that an injury took him out of being champion, and then he became champion again at Money in the Bank 2016, and Ambrose cashed in on, so it doesn't even really count. I don't even know why that counts as a second reign. I mean, technically it does because he held it for a few minutes. But his first reign, cashing in Money in the Bank, only man to cash in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, was a great moment. Sure, some of the booking was suspect after that, but he delivered great performances in the ring. He really fucking did. He had a great match with Neville on a Raw, which was absolutely great. But yeah, Seth might have been ranked a little bit higher had that second reign been a little bit better, but especially if the first reign had not ended prematurely, and that wasn't his fault. But he's in at number 20. Randy Orton at number 19, 658 combined days, 9 reigns. Look, Randy Orton, when motivated, can do a lot of great shit, but I just don't really care for Randy Orton as a long-term champion. He did some great shit in 2009, and he was a good champion. He was a good champion in 2008, and then 2009. Later on, it really didn't fucking work to me. I mean, yeah, he was WWE World Heavyweight Champion, so that counts on this, but that wasn't all that good. That just really wasn't. But some of his stuff in 2008, 2009, I mean, yeah, that was a while ago. I mean, it was a really long time ago. I wasn't even in my 30s at that point. I'm 38 years old. Soon, the world will crumble. We will all go to dust. But before that happens, talking about Randy Orton, he was a good champion. Some of his heel stuff is why he's on this list here. When they go number 18, Edge, 139 days, 4 reigns. Look, Edge didn't hold the title all that long, but he was the first ever Money in the Bank winner and successful cash-in. He had a couple other good reigns in good moments, even if he didn't hold it for all that long. That's why he's ranked here. And I mean, just really, that feud with John Cena in 2006, fucking incredible. He absolutely made that feud work. So did Cena. I mean, they both brought it. They both showed so much passion for it. And I might actually have to do a 20 favorite feuds of the last 20 years, just in wrestling altogether. Even though that's going to be rather difficult because I might have to do WWE favorite feuds, because then I'd be leaving Japan out and that kind of stuff. Or I could do WWE and TNA feuds or Impact feuds. Well, I'll decide on that. Edge, though, yeah, he didn't hold the title long, but still, it was great to see him as champion. So yeah, significantly less days than Orton, but I found Edge to be more interesting as champion. Yokozuna at number 17, 280 days, 2 reigns. The first reign lasted for like a couple minutes. Hogan, before Money in the Bank was ever a thing, cashed in an opportunity and became champion to close Mania 9 as the worst WrestleMania ending of all time. Worst WrestleMania ending of all time, good fucking Christ. With that second reign, beating Hogan to King of the Ring, yeah, sure, fluky finish, camera fireball, all that kind of shit. But he held it for 280 days. That was great. That was really great. 280, 279 days, whatever. He had some good stuff, despite the fact he had to work with Lex Luger. He lost the title at WrestleMania 10, never became champion again. Unfortunate, because I think had he kept his weight under control, he could have become WWE champion again. Possibly in 95, possibly in 96. Hell, he could have taken it from Shawn if he had kept his weight under control, but who knows. The whole point is that second title run alone is why he's ranked here. Number 16, Triple H, 609 days, 9 reigns. Look, Triple H delivered some good performances. had a couple title reigns that certainly weren't that bad, but some of them were friggin' power trips, ego stroking, all that. Him and Rock had a great series of matches in 2000 when Triple H was champion. And don't worry, Rock's going to be mentioned here a little bit later, but this wasn't, I just never cared for Triple H as the main event guy. Yes, I will die on that hill. I just never thought he was all that good. I know other people did, and that's fine. You're certainly entitled to your opinion. Whether I agree or not, you guys are entitled to your opinion because you don't have to agree with mine. I don't have to agree with yours, but we don't have to get in an argument. So I love the fact that you guys watch, whether you agree or disagree with me or not. And I like watching, fellow YouTube content creators, whether I agree or disagree with your guys' points. I still respect the fact that you guys present them with such passion and detail and everything. So mainly I just want to take a moment to say, hey, thanks. Thanks for supporting the channel. Back to Triple H. Yeah, 9 reigns, it's a few too many. Especially that 2016 reign. Even though I popped for it because I wanted the title off of Roman. That was when I didn't want Roman in the main event. I still don't. But I've kind of backed off on, being so hard on Roman the wrestler. Roman the man, super happy he beat leukemia. But with Triple H, some of his reigns are good, some of his reigns are shit. That's pretty much why he's here. Undertaker, 238 days, 4 reigns. Look, his first reign was shit when he beat Hogan in 91 and then dropped it a few days after. His 97 run was incredible. Beating Sid was not a very good start, but he still won. And then he had that great series of matches, lost to Bret Hart at SummerSlam 97. I would have rather had him beat Bret, but he kicked off a great program with Bret and Shawn, but also first Bret and Taker. Undertaker could just have a good match with just about anybody. Undisputed title sure wasn't all that good. That 99 run, not all that great. It really wasn't. But that undisputed title run, he had a good match with Taker and, well, not Taker, but Taker, Rock, and Angle at what was it? Like Vengeance 2002. One of my favorite B pay-per-views of all time, actually. One of my favorite non-Big Four pay-per-views of all time. But yeah, Undertaker, sure, okay, a couple of his reigns weren't all that good, but that 97 reign is why I'm putting him here. Now we go to Kurt Angle, 297 days, 4 reigns. Kurt Angle meant a lot to the WWE title, even if he never held it for way too long. I think his longest run actually might have been as champion in, let's see, I think his longest run might actually be, he had 2 of them. He had one where he won it at No Mercy 2000, and then lost it at No Way Out 2001. And then he had another run from like December 2002 to Mania 19. He never held the title long, but when he did, it meant a lot. It really meant a whole lot. Kurt Angle, great champion. Yes, okay, I wish he held it longer, but it is what it is. We then get Shawn Michaels at number 13, 396 days, 3 reigns. The second reign is a big reason as to why he's ranked this low. Yes, he had the Montreal Screwjob finish. Well, he was involved in that and was champ. That was his last WWE title reign. Because remember, he won the world title when he came back. But his first run is why I have him here. Because, yeah, okay, the shit he did with Vader I didn't really care for. But he had a great series of matches with Bulldog. And I like that match with Sid at Survivor Series 96. So sure, Shawn might be ranked a little low to some people. But in my opinion, Shawn's ranked right where he should be. Number 12, The Rock, 367 days, 8 reigns. Second longest reign was his last reign. Everything in his longest reign was only 4 months. Let that sink in. I mean, seriously, let that sink in because you actually need to install it in your bathroom. Holy crap, the sink is watching you. It's going to attack you. A killer sink. That needs to be a horror movie. I'm sorry, I believe I got off topic there for a second. Rock, yes, he didn't hold the title all that long, but he was electrifying. Pun intended. He was a great champion. Yes, he didn't have to hold it long because he was just an incredible draw, with or without the title. And I mean, yes, just over a year of combined reigns of 8. Not great, but still. We then get to AJ Styles at number 11. AJ Styles, who held the WWE Championship for a few months, well, about 4 months from September 2016 to Royal Rumble 2017. And then won it later in 2017 from Jinder Mahal. Thank fucking Christ we got it on a credible person. And yes, I ranted about Jinder Mahal in the previous entry, which, yes, again, the link's up there. But AJ Styles holding it for 371 days. Yes, his reign did get a little bit boring, mainly because he feuded with Nakamura forever. Then he feuded with Rusev for a little bit. Then he feuded with Joe forever. and he lost it to Daniel Bryan. I don't mind long feuds, but you got to make them interesting. There were some aspects that were, all the nut shots in Nakamura feud were not all that good, but it was what it was. AJ Styles just gets out of the top 10 though, because yeah, there were some feuds that weren't all that good. That's not necessarily his fault, but creative just didn't have it for him. But folks, I want to introduce somebody since I have some time here. I would like to know what your thoughts are. What do you think about AJ's thoughts about the gay community? This is Sir, by the way, for those of you that don't know. He's a rescue cat and he's a good therapy pet. I encourage you guys to adopt animals. Oh, goodness. Anyway. So yeah, that was what it was. So, yeah, AJ Styles just misses the top 10. CM Punk, 462 days, 2 reigns. The first reign, winning the Money in the Bank and then losing it right at SummerSlam on a cash-in. Not that great. That second run, though, 434 days, I like that. I thought that was good shit. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the greatest thing ever, but I'm a fan of CM Punk. I'm always going to be a fan of CM Punk. Did I like how he left? No. Do I get why he left? Yes. I still like CM Punk, though. I think CM Punk is a great talent. I'm going to put him top 10. People may not agree with me, but that's okay. Folks, I'm going to be right back. Sorry, folks, for that short break, I had to let the producer out because he's got to go hunting. I kind of live out in a woodsy area, so he actually has brought fresh kills, rats, birds, mice, field mice, which I didn't know we had out here. Anyway, cat killings aside, so leaving off from CM Punk, we get into the top 10, which actually we were already in the top 10, but now we've cracked it, and we're with John Cena, 13 reigns, a combined 1,254 days. If I was basing this on figures, that is the fourth most accumulation of days as champion. The reason I'm ranking him this low, some of his reigns weren't that good. Some of them were. I'm not the biggest Cena fan. Some of his reigns were pretty damn cool. He did hold it at one point for just over a year, and did have some good moments there. Sure, I didn't necessarily like that he beat Umaga. Sure, I wanted Shawn to beat him at WrestleMania 23. But he did have a lot of good feuds. Yes, he had some feuds where he buried people. He does bury quite a few people because Vince has him bury a lot of people. But I can't deny the fact that John Cena, on this list, the list I'm pointing to the list. I can't deny that John Cena didn't make the WWE title mean something. Am I a big fan of him? No. Am I a big fan of the hairpiece? No. But yeah, he's not the greatest WWE champion ever. I will not hear people say otherwise. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just not gonna let somebody tell me that he is, or tell me that, oh, well, you guys say he's the greatest WWE champion of all time. No, I'm not going to say that. But he made the title mean something. I gotta rank. Yes, I'm ranking him above Punk, and I'm a big CM Punk fan. But I gotta call him like I see him. We then get to number 8, Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Can't do a JR impression. Nor can JR say the word tranquilo. He says tranquilo. Tranquilo is actually how it's supposed to be said. I actually screwed up the JR impression at first. Tranquilo. JR should have never done New Japan commentary. Back to Stone Cold, though. 6 reigns, 529 days. Yeah, I think his longest reign actually was in 2001. I think his longest reign actually might have been his last one. More or less. Actually, let's see. The whole point is he didn't have to hold it for long as over as he was. They wanted to see him chase the title and win it. And then when he'd lose it, he'd win it right back soon afterwards. He was never out of the title picture for long for those, from 98 to 2001. Late 2001. Now, granted, from Survivor Series 99 till the following fall, he was out of the company because he was, getting neck surgery and all that and recovering. But yeah, Austin was a huge draw, massive draw, and a great champion. Now, he didn't need to hold the title for long, but the times he did, boy, did he draw. I mean, he drew anyway, but he still drew big. We then get to number 7, Brock Lesnar, 579 days, 4 reigns. This does not include the Universal title, which is good, because the Universal title's shit. It's not that some of the people that held it were shit, But the fruit roll-up belt, no, we don't need that. Brock, though, undisputed champion, and which became the WWE title. And then he lost it. Then he won it back at WrestleMania. Then he lost it to Vengeance 03. Yeah, he lost it while he was in UFC. He lost it at Vengeance 03. He won it back from Kurt soon after. He lost it to Eddie Guerrero, and then he left. And then he won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from Cena at SummerSlam 2014, and then held it until WrestleMania 31. He meant a lot. He did mean a lot to that championship. Now his second run, or his last run, maybe not all that great, but when he showed up, he did deliver. But it was a big deal seeing him as champion. I mean, I don't necessarily like the fact that Vince keeps giving him piles and piles of money. I mean, it's Vince's money. He can do what the fuck he wants, but he should give it to some of the women and the other people that work really hard and show up. But can't deny that Brock wasn't a hell of a champion for a good while. Universal champion, less so. This isn't what this is about. Number 6, Randy Savage. Yeah, Randy Savage is being ranked above Brock Lesnar. Why? 2 reigns, 520 days. His first reign was incredible, holding it onto it for just over a year. And then his second run, he held it for like another 5 months or something. About 5 months. He was just great as champion. He really was. He really was fucking great. He should have carried the company as opposed to Hogan. I think he could have carried the company. He should have been allowed to. Hogan had to be in his shadow, though. Randy, though, shined as champion, even with Hogan lording over him. He still shined big. And, oh God, do I miss Randy Savage to this day. But still, Randy Savage is just out of the top 5 because number 5, Pedro Morales. 1 reign, 1,027 days. You want to have a successor to Bruno? This is how you do it. Pedro Morales is super over. He was also a long reign Intercontinental champion, which is another ranking list that I did. And you either put it up here or I'll put it at the end of the video. But he, Pedro was great. Pedro was great as champion. Almost 3 years. Almost 3 years as champion. Really, what else can you fucking say? He was just fantastic. He was just absolutely great. And then I believe it was Stand-Man Stasiak to beat him, and then I believe it was I think it was Bruno that won it back from Stan Stasiak. Bruno has a weird track record with transitional champions. But yeah, Pedro, almost holding it for 3 years. That's a big fucking deal. And he was a hell of a draw. Shame he passed away. Number 4, Bret Hart, 654 days, 5 reigns. Look, I'm sorry, Pedro Morales fans. It's nothing against Pedro at all. I'm ranking Bret up there because Bret is my favorite wrestler of all time. He's not number 1. I'm not stupid because I know who number 1 is. I knew who number 1 was when I originally came up with this list. But Bret Hart, his first reign, and he held it for like 5 months, almost 6 months. His second reign, he held it for 7 months. Third reign, he held it for like 4. His last reign, sure, was only 3 months, but still. Actually, his fourth reign was like just a little bit, and then he lost it to Sid. That was great. And then I always forget about that other reign. And then his last reign was like just a few months, but still, that match with Undertaker and the matches that Bret could have were incredible. I will always remember his first few runs as champion rather than his last couple. Not that he didn't deserve the championship, but the moments were and the Montreal Screwjob and all that, which spelled the end of his run. But 654 days, Bret was my WWE champion. He was exactly the type of guy I would have chosen, in my opinion. But he's not top 3 because number 3, Bob Backlund, 2 reigns, even though he lost it a couple times. One time to Antonio Inoki, and another time to somebody. I don't remember who the fuck else it was. But they just didn't recognize the Antonio Inoki one because Inoki only won it on a tour of Japan. Because Inoki had a great relationship with WWE. But yeah, Bob Backlund, 2,138 days. So yeah, if you recognize the 4 reigns, okay, still 2 reigns. It's the 2 recognized reigns. 2 reigns, and the main one was like 5.5 years. I mean, he won it. Let's see. No, he won it in February of '78 from Superstar Billy Graham, which made me so sad to see Superstar Billy Graham lose and then go on a downward spiral because he was so upset and he had a second chance in life he didn't deserve. I don't like Billy Graham. I've mentioned that, but He did hold it for nearly 6 years. Actually, if he had held it until February of 84, he would have held it for 6 years. It was really incredible that he held it that long because he dropped it in December of 83, so he held it for just under 6 years. And Bob Backlund was great. Now, okay, yes, maybe people were tired of the All-American babyface and this kind of stuff. Maybe he held it a little bit too long. But still, he could deliver great matches. His promos weren't that great. When he finally snapped and turned heel after he returned in 93 and then turned heel in 94, yeah, he got quite a bit better at promos, and he actually became champion in a match that wasn't very good with Bret at Survivor Series 93. Okay, he held it for a few days. Diesel beat him in a Madison Square Garden house show. Good stuff. But then, still, Bob Backlund, that first reign, that's why he's here. Number 2, Hulk Hogan. I don't like, the racist grandpa anymore than a lot of people do. There are Hogan fans I know that are watching, that's fine. There are people that are forgiving Hogan, that's fine. But 2,185 days, 6 reigns. Okay, his first reign for just over 4 years, like 4 years and 2 weeks. His second reign, just about a year. His third reign, 7 months. His fourth reign, like 2 months. And then his last reign was Undisputed Champion. It was a month. Well, actually, let's see. Survivor Series. Oh, no, that's right. He won it from Undertaker Tuesday in Texas, and then it got held up. So that was actually the fourth reign. And then the fifth reign was when he won it from Yokozuna at WrestleMania. Okay. I totally forget about the Tuesday in Texas show, which is good because it was shit. The whole point is that Hogan meant everything to the championship, especially in the 80s. He really, nothing against Pedro, because Pedro was actually... Well, not actually, Pedro was Intercontinental Champion at that point. But nothing against anybody else that held the championship. Nothing against Backlund. And Hogan was the champion of the 80s. He helped him and a collection of great characters and wrestlers helped bring wrestling to the masses. And Vince promoting him like he did, it worked. Now, it didn't work after a while because people got tired of it. But for a number of years, it fucking worked. And I got to put Hogan up here, even though I don't necessarily like the racist grandpa. But we get to number 1, Bruno Sammartino. 2 reigns. One that was 7.5 years, and another one that was about 4. So I think he held it for... he held it for about 11.5 years, or almost 11. The whole point is his second reign was like half of that, and still he was just 4,040 days. Who the fuck else is going to be number 1? It had to be Bruno. He was the man in the garden. He was the man who was super over. You could hear a pin drop, and he dropped it to Ivan Koloff. When he won it back from Stan the Man Stasiak, another transitional champion, he held it until he dropped it to Superstar Billy Graham. Because Bruno didn't want to be champion anymore. He's like, nope, take it off of me. I'm done. And he would still make appearances, but he didn't want to be full-time anymore. Bruno has to be number 1, though. Bruno, number 1. Elan, number 1. No, not Iron Sheik. Bruno, though, seriously, especially for all the stuff that he overcame before coming to WWE, just looking at what Bruno did for WWE business, good God, the guy is so incredible and sorely missed, but boy, did he live a hell of a life. But Bruno Sammartino, best WWE champion ever. My personal opinion. But anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I will see you soon.